What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be doing a review of our March trips. We took two. We took one ferocious trip just yesterday for the final day of spring break at Six Flags Over Texas. As you can see, it was pretty crowded. It was a pretty chaotic day. It was one of those days where if you didn't have a Flash Pass watch, you were doing it wrong. The lines for the Flash Pass were almost all the way to the Mexican sombrero ride. It was pretty crazy. The rides, the lines for the rides were insane. But we had Flash Passes, so we didn't really care. We actually dipped out probably about 2:30 because the crowds were just too insane. It was hard to get video. We were running into people, so it's just bad for content purposes and getting people in videos that don't want to be in videos. So we just kind of left. The theming around the Six Flags around spring break was actually really good. The ride times were really good. We got rides on everything within. We rode everything till about 2:30, and then we just dipped out. We rode freeze and everything, and then we just kind of left. I was kind of feeling groggy and just tired, and so we just decided to leave, and we dipped out. But we were really impressed with the way that Six Flags Over Texas prepared their event and the way they executed it. We kind of felt like they did a lot better job than some of the stuff we've been seeing of Six Flags Fiesta Texas. So that definitely was a Q points as far as the park goes there. Rider operations were actually on point. They were, given the fact of how many people were in the park yesterday, the ride operations during spring break were actually pretty above moderate. They were moving people in and moving people out. Especially on Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze was rocking and rolling. They were sanitizing their rides. Social distancing was non-existent because you cannot social distance 6 feet when you've got 100% capacity in the park the way that it was. There's absolutely no way you can possibly social distance. I mean, no matter where we went, there was just like you were bumping elbows with people. So social distancing 6 feet away from people definitely was not enforced yesterday because they just simply couldn't enforce it. If they had enforced the 6 feet, then the line would have, for the take pictures, or the Flash Pass line would have went all the way to Conquistador. So, and it's too hectic. Six Flags was making money, and there comes a lot of times to where making money is a lot more important than health. So that's the only downside to it. It's not really a downside for us because we really don't care. We have a firm belief that if you're afraid of getting sick, don't go to an amusement park. What are you guys' thoughts on the social distancing with spring break at Six Flags, or the lack thereof? We thought it was a good thing because more people were wanting to come out to the park, and more people were really not all that messed up about, COVID. They just wanted to get back to normal and have a good time. While we were inside the park, we didn't really see any drama inside the park. We did hear about a couple of incidents over the weekend that happened that we won't talk about here, but they got handled fairly quickly. One of them, I think both of them, was handled by law enforcement, and they handled it in a pretty decent way, I believe. But aside from the time that we were there wasn't really a whole lot of drama and no fighting. Which, given how many people were in the park, is a very good thing. We were able to test out the new GoPro. That's the background video you can see on Freeze right now. That's from the new GoPro, the new Titan video as well. We're going to go through and kind of re-upload a lot of the videos using the 4K resolution, as it's just a lot more smoother. It's crispier. It just overall looks a lot better. So we're going to be changing resolutions to a lot of the video. We're going to leave the older resolutions up so that way we can kind of go back to them and kind of compare and contrast. Our first trip, which was taken at the beginning of March, we took my son's mom and her kids with us as well during that time. This was their first trip to Six Flags. I felt like Six Flags did a great job because there was no event going on. The Fire and Ice event had ended, and this was prior to spring break. So we felt as if this was Six Flags' time to really, bring the rain if they were going to. If they were going to do anything that was going to stand out, this was going to be their opportunity to do so. Because there was no events going on. There was no theming to the events. But Six Flags over Texas came through. I felt like they did a really good job with implementing, the small little shows here, bringing Reverend Butter back, with the Disney characters, setting up for photo ops, for other people, encouraging interactions with the crowd. It was actually a well put together day when we were there. The kids had a great time. Asher had a great time. He always has a great time when he goes to that park because he gets to ride pretty much anything he wants. Aside from that, we had a great time. We were able to ride everything and get a good video, and I think we were able to make a review park video that's actually the highest viewed video on my channel right now. I want to thank you guys for that so much, for all the love and all the support for that. We were going to do a spring break review video, but it's just not worth it because spring break's done now. But the first trip there, the operations were on point. The only downside I have to say about this visit, the only thing that really irked my nerves, is when we went to ride Batman the Ride, there was a long line all the way to the entrance, but they were running one freaking train. Nothing gets under my skin more than one train ops on a potential 2 to 3 train potential ride. There should be no reason why you should ever run anything under 2 trains on Batman the Ride at any park at any time of the year. You should always be running 2 trains because you could run half the day and you can have no lines, but then at 3 o'clock people can come in and say, hey, let's go ride Batman. Hey, let's go ride Batman. And then you've got lines all the way to the entrance, and by that time it's too late to swap from 1 train to 2. So I'm not sure if it was bad communications between Six Flags and the cast members there, or if it was just overall bad management, or what was going on that day. But it was recognizable that they were running 1 train and the line was incomprehensible. It was long. Because not everybody will go out and pay the extra money like we do to get a flash pass, so they have to sit there for 2.5-3 hours to wait to get a ride on Batman, which they shouldn't have to wait that long to get a ride. And by that time, if you've waited for an hour and a half, you've already committed an hour and a half of your time to riding that thing. So if you leave the ride, then you've legit just wasted an hour and a half of your time that you could have used doing something else. So some people will leave the ride, and other people will, like me, if I wait more than 25 minutes on a ride, then I'm committed to continuously waiting for that thing until I get my ride. Before we discovered the Flash Pass system and started investing in it, I used to wait a couple of hours sometimes to ride Freeze because it was worth the wait. And it's the same way with Texas Giant. So that's the only bad thing, is you always want to have trains. The popular rides, I feel like, should always be running 2 trains minimal at all times. Especially with spring here now, the temperatures are going to be going back up, which means attendance is also going to go back up. What also helps it is that the parks are running at a full capacity, 100% now. So you're going to get to see you're going to see more crowds there than you normally would. But it's not going to be like spring break. Spring break and Labor Day are probably the 2 craziest times at an amusement park, because that's when they're the most packed. Summertime, not so much. A lot of times if you would go to a park in the summer, you'd get some crowds. But if you had a Flash Pass, then you could ride pretty much everything with ease. Because you're skipping all the lines. So there's really not that big of a deal. That's why most of our videos and our vlogs and reviews are done during the summertime. That's why when we go to Carowinds, we have a fast lane pass, which is just like a Flash Pass. So that way we'll be skipping the lines on pretty much every ride, and we'll be able to pretty much get everything that we need when we're there for 3 days. If I'm investing 3 days to go completely to the other side of the country, I want to be able to get my money's worth and get my time's worth, because I care more about my time than I do my money, and that's just how it is. But overall, for the month of March, Six Flags did a great job. We also took a trip to Shreveport with the kid. Me and the kid did. We went to the Shreveport Aquarium, which was a complete and utter disappointment. Not really excited about the outcome of that aquarium. It took us about 35 minutes to go from the aquarium, from giving them our ticket to walking out the door. It took us 35 minutes. And that's with him playing and petting the stingrays and feeding the jellyfish and all that other stuff. It took us 35 minutes to go from start to finish. 35 minutes in an aquarium is a very, very short time, especially with a child. When you have a child, you take them to the aquarium, you want to spend about an hour and a half. If you spend an hour and a half in an aquarium, you've had a really good day. You've got a really good aquarium because they have that many exhibits there for you to see. So that's what separates a good aquarium from an ass aquarium. The Shreveport Aquarium's ass. I gave it a 5 out of 10. I'm just being honest and I'm just being blunt. But when we went to the museum, the Sci-Port Museum there in Shreveport, we both had a lot of fun. He had a blast. That place is so awesome. We're gonna go back. Probably here pretty soon. We'll probably take him back because he loved it. But yeah, and that's it. Our trip plans for April. We have three reviews. We've got the 4 States Fair and Rodeo review. We've got the Dallas Zoo, and we've got the Dallas World Aquarium. And then at the end of April, beginning of May, we've got Six Flags Fiesta Texas Park Review, SeaWorld San Antonio Park Review, all for 2021. So April's a pretty busy month. I got taken off work for 3 days because I got told I needed to relax a little bit. Don't know what that's about. Doesn't sound like me at all. Doctors don't want me going, and they want to keep me motivated and keep me going so that way I can get the big vacation trip coming, which is coming up in about 80 days. So a lot of cool stuff coming around in April. We'll talk about May's trips when we get done with April's trips. Once we make our trip to San Antonio in April, it's kind of make or break at that point, because that's when we'll start planning our bigger trips to San Antonio and stuff like that. So yeah, man, if you're new here and you like the content, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. I upload videos every single day. If you like the video and you really want to help support the channel, go ahead and smash that likes button, because that helps out more than anything. Thank you guys for watching, and like always, we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.